wondering whether or not anyone had ever run across the Sahara Desert, like the whole Sahara Desert. And, you know, kind of like a drinking episode, it sounded like a good idea, like right then. So, you know, I came home a week later and I began to research and find out whether or not it had been done before, and found out that it had not. Go figure. And you know, I started to plot and plan this thing, and basically I was working as a producer for ABC's Extreme Makeover Home Edition at the time, and so I had some weird connections, and this guy, this friend of mine, said, would you like to meet this director, James Mall, and tell him about the movie? And because I was saying, or not about the movie, about the run. It was just a run. I always figured I'd carry like a handy cam and talk to myself, and which you could tell I could actually do. And that's what I expected to happen, but I agreed to go see this director, and I thought maybe he could suggest somebody that might have an interest in making a film about this movie. And I went in to see him, and he had won the Academy Award for Best Documentary a few years earlier, so I felt, you know, honored just to be there. And I tell him the story, about 45 minutes of this crazy idea of trying to run, you know, 4,000 miles across the Sahara, and why anybody should care about that. And at the end of that meeting, he's like, okay, I'll do it. And I pretended like that was my purpose, of course. And although I think I was probably a little more like, what do you mean you'll do it? And then about a week later, he calls me and says, look, I have, if it's okay with you, Matt Damon has agreed to executive produce this movie, and he wants to narrate it. I was like, well, you know, I was really hoping for somebody better, but I guess he'd be all right. And so that's how it began. And ultimately, when the film was finished, we ended up with Hans Zimmer, who did the score for the film, and who's a big, you know, Hollywood music guy. So it's a running film that ended up with like 3 Academy Award winners attached to it. And I always remember that it's total luck. I mean, I am a person that believes in, you know, the power of like putting out your ideas, but I am also one of those who, my friend Terry here can attest, I always had an idea, and I think after a while people became numb to them, no matter what it was, business or personal, whatever, because there was always something else, and I had a hard time focusing on one thing. And so I think my friends even were a little, you know, I don't know, a little, let's just say dubious whether or not I would actually be able to even get to the start line. And I always remember 6 months before this thing started, I was planning, I put together a lot, I put together a couple $1 million in sponsorships. I mean, this was, I told this story 1,000 times of what this thing could be. And I can remember 6 months before the expedition started, I like woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning one night, and I sat up in bed, and like literally, I was like, oh my God, I have to run across this area. It was like I had forgotten about that part. Because the rest of it, I was having a good time, you know? It's like, I really should start running. It was funny though, ultra running is just a strange thing though. It's not like training for a marathon, or, you know, there's not a, it's more about staying healthy throughout, and it's more about nutrition and hydration and really mentally staying focused and in the run. And that, of course, as you guys are going to see, was the hardest part. So this film is I'm proud of it. I won't tell you how it ends. I didn't die. I know that part. But I hope you guys enjoy it. And, you know, again, I always say, you know, the fluff questions, I'll actually get those out of the way afterwards, but usually people have some fairly intense questions after this, usually like what's wrong with us, but I've got a good answer for that. So anyway, enjoy. I don't know where. We're ready. Go for it.